Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava, page 102, A, top of the page, with the words Stam 18. Unspecified wood exists for fuel, that is charcoal, so its benefit follows its consumption. Rav Kahana says, and the matter of whether kindling wood, whose benefit follows its consumption, is subject to the sanctity of the sabbatical year, is a dispute among Tanaim, as it is taught in the Tosefta Shvi'it 625. One may not transfer sabbatical year produce, for example, wine, to another person, neither for soaking flax, to prepare it for spinning, as the benefit derived from the flax follows its soaking. When the soaked and spun thread is woven into a garment, or for laundering with it, as the benefit derived follows the laundering when one wears the clean clothes, soaking the flax, or laundering the garment in wine is considered the consumption of the wine, as it is no longer potable. And Rabbi Yossi says one may transfer to another sabbatical year produce for soaking and for laundering. The Gemara asks, what is the reasoning for the statement of the rabbis? The verse states with regard to sabbatical year produce for food, Leviticus 25:6, from which it is inferred, but not for soaking, for food, but not for laundering. And Rabbi Yossi says that it is permitted, as the verse also states, for you, from which it is inferred, for you, for all your needs, even for soaking and for laundering. The Gemara asks, and according to the rabbis as well, isn't it written for you? How do they explain that term? The Gemara answers, from that term, for you, it is derived for you, similar to for food. In other words, the sanctity of the sabbatical year takes effect with regard to those items whose benefit and whose consumption coincide, which excludes soaking and laundering, where the item's benefit follows their consumption. The Gemara asks, and according to Rabbi Yossi as well, isn't it written for food? Rabbi Yossi could have said to you, that term is necessary for that which is taught in a Braita, as it is taught. The verse states, for food, but not for poultice, for poultice. Middle Gemma? Not sure that is. The Braita continues, do you say for food, but not for poultice? Or perhaps it is only for food, but not for laundering? When the verse says for you, laundering is already stated as permitted, since it includes all of one's bodily needs. How do I realize the meaning of that which the verse says for food? It is for food, but not for a poultice. The Braita continues, wow, now I have to do part 2. The Braita continues, but not for poultice. Okay, the Braita continues, should one ask, and what did you see that led you to include the use of sabbatical year produce for laundering and to exclude the use of sabbatical year produce as a poultice? Perhaps the opposite should be said. The Braita answers, I include the use for laundering, which applies equally to every person, and everyone needs clean clothes, and I exclude use as a poultice, which does not apply equally to every person, it is only for the ill-wounded. In accordance with those with whose opinion is that which is taught in a Braita with regard to sabbatical 7-year produce for food, but not for poultice, for food, but not for sprinkling in wine in one's house to provide a pleasant fragrance, for food, but not for to make an emetic from it to induce vomiting. According with whose opinion is this Braita? It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, as if there were in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis. There is not only soaking and laundering that should have been excluded from the Braita, as in the rabbi's opinion, the use of sabbatical year produce is for those purposes is forbidden. The Mishnah in 100b teaches that if the owner gave wool to a dyer to dye it red and instead he had it black, Rameir says the dyer gives the owner of the wool the value of his wool. Rabbi Yehuda says if the value of the enhancement exceeds the dyer's expenses, the owner of the wool gives the dyer the expenses. If expenses exceed the enhancement, he gets in the value of the enhancement. The Gemara proposes in Malaki the acrostic item Saban, for which the names of the sages involved in the following incident. Even each letter in the acrostic represents the middle letter of one of the names. Samach, Rav Yosef, Bet, Rabbi Abba, and Nun, Rabbi Abba, and Rav Huna. Stop right there for now.